All right, welcome back. I hope you're having an amazing time so far. Our next speaker is Sathish Thyagarajan. He is a marketing and engineering leader, AI and analytics at NetApp. Please join me in welcoming him to our virtual stage.
Thank you, Patrika. It gives me great pleasure to be here. So folks, welcome to the AI industry session on the impact of AI in financial services. And my name is Sathish Thyagarajan. I'm with the AI product engineering and solutions team at NetApp. So I wanted to first start talking about the impact of AI in the financial industry, but also the impact of COVID in the recent times and how that has impacted the industry particularly. Then talk about some of the technology trends and AI in financial services and how it's transforming both the business operations and customer experiences. Then spend a few minutes on NetApp AI's solution portfolio and value prop and some of the customer success stories, and then wrap up. So the pandemic has brought many new challenges for all of us. Dealing with the unprecedented times have created many new normals to our lives in many new ways. One among the many where the pandemic has accelerated digital transformation is the move from physical to virtual banking. Due to the increasing risks, banks are under strong pressure to reduce cost and support remote work or the work from home models. Banking services can be provided 100% digitally, and therefore in the many banks like in the US, the bank branch counts have significantly dropped year over year in the last decade, and the pandemic has only accelerated this trend. The growth of contactless payments has been a key trend during the pandemic as well. Touch-free payments have gone from being a convenience to a necessity for both consumers and retailers. 30% of consumers have started using contactless payments, and 70% of those who started using see themselves continuing to remain with contactless payments post-COVID. On the technology trends, we are noticing some of these data priorities that are specific to AI. We're seeing banks deploying intelligent omni-channel using conversational AI with natural language processing for process initiation and completion to alleviate the call volumes and improve customer experience. Banks, credit card companies, and digital payment firms are also leveraging AI, deep learning, and machine learning models for fraud detection. For swiftly approving loans, fintechs are using AI and machine learning to swiftly process the credit approval ratings and algorithmic trading involved. Regulatory tech is another area where AI and automation are used to manage reports and legal documents to ensure regulatory compliance. So these are some of the trends that we, when our NetApp AI team is engaged with the enterprise customers that we often tend to see. So the next few minutes, I do want to just speak about some of these very common business use cases from an AI perspective that we have observed working with many of our customers that are creating a business impact in how it's transforming the financial services. So Robo-Advisors are basically trained to provide digital advice based on mathematical rules and algorithms designed jointly by financial advisors and data scientists with moderate to minimum human intervention. This technology has actually been in existence since the early 2000s, but it was mostly held privately by investment banks and asset management firms. However, that changed after the financial crisis in around 2008, when many fintech firms started launching robo-advisors for general public. Today, we have many fintech firms that are quickly embracing AI, acquiring data scientists and AI tools to augment each and every stage in the investing process, to automatically allocate, manage, and optimize clients' assets for either short-term or long-term investment goals. Many large banks and investment firms are following these trends by deploying AI technologies on various stages, like data aggregation, research and analysis, portfolio construction, and risk management to help their customers attain their financial goals, where the business goal is to augment each of these stages involved in the investments and asset management process. FinServ institutions invest huge amounts of resources in both identifying and preventing money laundering and fraud, not only for building trust with customers, but also to meet with regulatory compliances like GDPR. Most banks have two separately dedicated teams to handle fraud detection and money laundering. Despite those efforts, reports of identity theft rose by over 100% from 2019 to 2020. In 2020, a total of $3.3 billion was lost to fraud during the pandemic in the US. That's a significant amount. Conversational AI is another use case that many FinServ banks and firms are adopting into. Conversational AI or chatbots. The adoption of chatbots is common in many industries like retail, tourism, and financial services. Many FinServ companies adopt chatbots primarily to help banks improve customer service and customer satisfaction, or the Net Promoter Score, and minimize churn rate. AI and chatbots are not employee replacement technologies. Instead, they have a symbiotic relationship with human agents and work hand in hand to provide a great customer experience. Robotic process automation is another technology that combines robotic automation and AI. By using conversational AI and robotic process automation, banks are able to reduce the time taken to approve home loans, answer basic questions related to financial planning, and reduce the waiting time for its customers. The adoption of contactless payments seems largely common in retail stores and gas stations. From a technology standpoint, these cashierless payments require multiple elements. Authentication and access, which is connecting the physical shopper to a validated bank account. Tracking, typically a computer vision system to associate a shopper in a retail store with a product selection by virtue of proximity. Inventory monitoring, which uses sensors, RFID tags, and vision systems to help confirm the selection or deselection of items by shoppers. And there is this other layer, which is the backend software for inventory tracking, order processing, data analytics, and mobile payments or cashless, contactless payments. So there's a ton of activities from a technology and a solution standpoint that happens in the background. Smart loans. At its core, lending is still a big data problem, which is therefore making it a business use case naturally suited for AI and machine learning. Traditionally, loan officers look into the loan applications for employment history, income status, debt to income ratio, one's history of borrowing and repaying loans, where credit score is often used to judge the credit worthiness. While in the past, lenders looked at only a few traditional metrics, companies have now started looking at an individual's entire digital footprint, like social media, internet browsing, and geolocation data to determine how likely they are to default a loan. This approach, on the other hand, is becoming effective and helping the so-called thin file borrowers, those with no or little credit history. Some emerging tech companies and other high profile companies are using AI to determine credit worthiness and streamline the loan application process. End of the day, finding new and better ways to determining the credit worthiness of the individual is one way to increase business and gain customers for these lending institutions. So next couple of minutes, I want to talk about how NetApp plays a role in addressing some of these financial services AI use cases we just saw. So first, I want to bring the portfolio, how we have positioned ourselves. NetApp has a strong OEM partnership with companies like NVIDIA, Cisco, Lenovo, and Fujitsu. Our AI portfolio is built to help our enterprise customers depending on where they are in their AI deployment projects. For banks and FinServ enterprises looking for industry-leading NVIDIA DGX for AI, we have the ONTAP AI product and a solution architecture that's available for our customers. For banks looking for Cisco UCS machine learning servers for AI with NVIDIA GPUs, we have FlexPod AI for our customers. For banks looking for InfiniBand with native storage, we have E-Series for AI. And for FinServ enterprises looking for entry-level AI systems, we have solutions offerings from our partnership with Lenovo, the ONTAP AI with Lenovo. Likewise, we also have for banks looking for Fujitsu, a solution for ONTAP AI with Fujitsu. So ONTAP AI is the core data center portion. It is a turnkey full stack AI platform from edge to core to the cloud by NetApp. It's simple. NetApp and NVIDIA have done all the work, so you don't have to. ONTAP AI eliminates a lot of waste entirely. In fact, we have Ansible playbooks in place where we can actually deploy this within 20 minutes. It's also well integrated as it's built on the power of the data fabric by NetApp. It allows you to create a data pipeline to suit where your data is, on premises or on the cloud. It deploys all your AI frameworks such as TensorFlow, PyTorch, Caffe, or MXNet. So speaking of ONTAP AI from a specific financial services use case that I spoke about earlier in fraud detection. So here's the slide with NetApp ONTAP AI designed for training fraud detection at the core. Even though data analysis, labeled data sets, and traditional rule-based approaches of historical transactions are available at many financial institutions, supervised machine learning is not so much a viable approach due to the massive imbalance between the number of good and bad transactions. So deep learning is now the state-of-the-art technique for identifying financial transactions supported of fraud and money laundering. particularly GAN, Generative Adversarial Network, a type of neural network, an unsupervised learning technique for anomaly detection. Each GAN has two components, a generator and a discriminator. Using this mechanism from the original data set, we at NetApp generated a new data set of 1.5 terabytes with a much higher proportion of fraudulent transactions. Even though we may create a reasonably good deep learning model to classify fraudulent transactions, with the original data set, we decided to improve our detection with a larger number of fraudulent transactions. By using GAN, which deploys a more realistic real-world representation, which learns to mimic any distribution of data and has proven to be more effective for fraud prevention. Banks and fintech companies can train their deep learning models and deploy this turnkey fraud detection solution on ONTAP AI, a reference architecture solution put together by NetApp and NVIDIA. On the right-hand side, you can see the architecture, which is, it has NetApp all-flash A800 storage systems with NVIDIA DGX A100 compute servers with 8 GPUs on each of those. So in the previous slide, I mentioned about increased number of consumers using contactless payments at point of sale transactions. Banking organizations are also using AI and edge computing to innovate and create personalized banking experiences for their customers. Interactive kiosks using real-time data and AI inferencing now enable ATMs to not only help customers but withdraw money, but also proactively monitor kiosks through the images captured from cameras to identify risk to human safety or fraudulent behavior. The NetApp AI inferencing at the edge combines multiple Lenovo edge servers with a NetApp AFF storage. This reference architecture is designed to handle AI inferencing on large data sets using the processing power of NVIDIA T4 GPUs and has been validated for MLPerf for inference benchmarks at the edge. In this solution with conversational AI, we're using NVIDIA Jarvis for speech, audio to text transcription from a publicly available data set to perform sentiment analysis based on the latest company earnings call. NVIDIA Jarvis is an interactive end-to-end framework for building conversational AI services. It includes GPU-optimized services like automatic speech recognition, natural language understanding, text-to-speech, computer vision, and so forth. Data syncs can be complex. NetApp Cloud Sync is NetApp's service for rapid and secure data synchronization. It enables users to move data easily over various protocols, whether it's between two NFS shares, two CIF shares, or an Amazon S3 or Azure Blob Storage. NetApp ONTAP AI tightly integrates NVIDIA DGX system and NetApp AFF 220 storage system with the state-of-the-art networking for such workloads and use cases. Developers can select a Jarvis pre-trained model from NVIDIA's NGC catalog, fine-tune it using their own data set with the NVIDIA Transfer Learning Toolkit, optimize it for maximum throughput and minimum latency in real-time speech services, and then with just a few lines of code, so there is no need for deep AI expertise to deploy this solution. The NetApp AI control plane is easy to use, simple to manage solution put together by NetApp AI team. It helps to accelerate the deployment of ready-to-use workspaces for data scientists in the form of Jupyter workspaces or notebooks. It can be built on top of a Kubernetes platform that is integrated with Kubeflow. By bringing in NetApp Trident into this equation, we can provision a persistent storage for every workspace dynamically. Data scientists can leverage the NetApp Trident Kubeflow integration on AWS, Azure, Google Cloud to run AI and machine learning training experiments with an ML ops user experience. The NetApp AI control plane leverages the NetApp Data Ops Toolkit, which helps data scientists and AI engineers to seamlessly replicate data across sites and regions to create a cohesive and unified deep learning or machine learning data pipeline for traceability, model versioning, and A/B testing. The NVIDIA-based command is a managed service offering or a subscription-based model managed by NVIDIA that provides a superpod that has ONTAP AI in the background. A typical scenario of a superpod is somewhere like 20 plus nodes of DGX 100, A100s running a single job across the cluster. That's massive. This may be useful for large financial institutions who have the need for such high compute involving GPU-enabled clusters. And this is a program we have for our customers jointly, offered by NVIDIA. NetApp AI also works closely and maintains a strong relationship with various ISV partners, and these are just a few to name. Here are a few of these with whom we have developed use case specific solutions for our enterprise customers. They're also NVIDIA service delivery partners. So it comes very helpful for customers who want to get into the engagement and develop a solution and get to the finish line quickly. These solutions fall within the edge core cloud ecosystem. The data fabric technology is powered by NetApp with ONTAP systems for on-premises and Cloud Volumes ONTAP for public cloud. So NetApp solutions cover every stage from the edge, core, and cloud. At the edge, we have software-defined storage, ONTAP Select, which can run on any hardware and edge devices. For edge inferencing, we saw how you can deploy Lenovo NetApp AI Inferencing for edge computing solution, which comes with NVIDIA T4 GPUs. At the core are reference architectures such as ONTAP AI with powerful NVIDIA DGX, FlexPod AI with Cisco servers that deploy NVIDIA GPUs, E-Series for those who need InfiniBand native attached storage. You can start your AI journey in the cloud, then scale seamlessly across a hybrid multi-cloud. Cloud Sync offers a simple, secure, and automated way to migrate your data from any source destination to any target destination in the cloud or on your premises. The NetApp AI control plane and the NetApp Data Ops Toolkit helps data scientists and AI engineers to seamlessly replicate data across sites and regions to create a unified machine learning data pipeline for traceability and A/B testing. NetApp offers Cloud Volumes data services with all the major hyperscale cloud providers such as Amazon, Azure, and Google Cloud. Or you can host your data at a colo near the cloud. So now I want to just talk a little bit about some of the case studies and success stories we've had with some of our customers in the financial services space. For AI in banking, this is one of the largest banks in the world, also a leading international financial institution. The challenge the customer had was to build a nationwide AI platform that is optimized for both cloud and on-premises. The customer had various needs with multiple use cases such as fraud detection, voice-assisted chatbots, and credit risk assessments. They chose to deploy NetApp ONTAP AI with 75 DGX systems to support all the customer's requirements. Here is another example, a smaller firm that uses AI for smart loans. It's a fintech software company that deploys compliant credit models with accurate assessment and automated for quicker approvals, loan approvals. Also chose to use ONTAP AI to run their deep learning models that can help its customers increase their wallet share in the smart loans market. Here's another customer using NetApp technology and what they have to say about how they manage risk and fight fraud. So I just want to summarize so you walk away with these key takeaways after this session. We saw how AI is impacting every part of the industry, from credit to collections, contactless payments to insurance claims, customer service to trading with Robo-Advisors. It's catching fraudsters, driving smarter trading and loan approvals, and improving the customer experience with personalized financial services. We also saw how NetApp AI can help in the development of AI solutions across the edge, core, and the cloud ecosystem. NetApp AI solutions and joint architectures put together with our partners deliver the promise of AI today. So folks, it has been a great pleasure to present here at the AI4 Industry Conference. I'd like to thank you for taking this time to attending my session. I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference, and more importantly, I hope you stay safe. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Sathish. That was amazing. And I know this virtual audience is giving you a huge virtual round of applause.
Thank you,
Thank you so much for sharing with us today. For the audience, it's time for you to make your way to your next session. Along the way, make sure you accept your connection request and take some time to check out our amazing exhibits. Thanks so much, and we'll see you around.